Welcome to tonight's video. We should have spent some time in class today kind of fine-tuning what we had discovered about what we already knew about inquiry. And tonight's video is just to kind of guide you towards the next step in the process of inquiry in my classroom. So tonight's video is how are we going to move from tuning in, stage 1, to finding out, stage 2. And what we're doing is getting ready to find out more. The music in the background tonight is the Allman Brothers, The Little Martha, one of my faves. Enjoy. Alright, basically, here's where we've been in the very beginnings of this first inquiry. We've defined inquiry. You had a previous video that talked about inquiry was. The definition of inquiry is written on the board in class, and we've defined inquiry as one way of learning something, that it's a process of going beyond what we already know, of digging more deeply, of getting beyond that just skimming along the surface knowledge. We've also begun to think about an essential question that's closely connected to our own lives in the first unit, one of personal identity. And we've already begun exploring what we already know about identity, what we think is important about our personal identities, and what we're still wondering about the topic. The video is to help you prepare for Wednesday and Thursday's classes. So the question is, what's next? And I hope you have lots and lots of questions in your head. So now what we're going to talk about next, or what we should have talked about in class on Monday and Tuesday, is can we come up with some theories? What theories can we put together based on what we already know? How do we already know this stuff? Where does this information come from? And how could we find out more about this? This is what we should have accomplished in class on Monday and Tuesday. And this is what information you're going to be working from as we move forward. So here's what I want you to do tonight. I want you to make a plan for the finding out stage of inquiry. Remember that finding out is where we are actually looking at texts that are going to add to our knowledge, that are going to help us gather data, and are going to help us try and begin to answer our questions. So with that said, you need a plan before we begin the second stage, because again, inquiry is a process. That means each stage has certain requirements, and you need to have one set of requirements met before you can move to the next stage. So I want you to think about tonight, are you clear about what you know? Can you very clearly say after today's class, these are the things I know for sure about the concept of identity and my own personal identity? Do you have some clear ideas about what else you need to discover? In other words, where are there holes in your knowledge? Where are there questions? Are you clear about why you are asking what you are asking? Now, the obvious question is we're asking about identity because I have to. But beyond that, what aspects of identity interest you and why? Why is it that you have an interest in this? Think about the skills you're going to need to go after searching for answers. What are you going to need to be able to do? Think about your reading skills, think about your critical thinking skills, think about your writing skills, think about your annotation skills, think about your discussion skills. What are you going to need? What procedures might you use? How are you going to go about this, do you think? And I want you to set up some goals for this first inquiry project. When I see you in class, we're going to operate from these questions, and then you'll have the workshop time to finish this and prepare an inquiry plan for me. So spend some time tonight in your writer's notebook with these questions. And here are some sentence stems to just help you kind of fine-tune the questions you want to think about. How is blank related to blank? This could be, how is identity related to personality? Or how is personality related to identity? How is experience related to personality? I don't know. There's stems to help you form questions that are going to help you go deeper. What is a different or a new example of blank? What are some possible solutions for a problem of blank? Explain why blank. What do you think would happen if blank? Why is blank important? And the function of these sentence stems is to help you actually think about what is it that you still need to know, What are some questions that are going to frame the rest of the reading and the talking and the thinking and the writing that we're going to do from tomorrow on forward? So in your writer's notebook, in order to do some important thinking before we move on to the stage 2 of inquiry, I would like you to reflect on what we've discussed in class about what we know and how we know it. I want you to think in writing about the questions on the making a plan slide that we just looked at. We're going to be discussing this information and completing an inquiry plan. So if you come to class without having watched the video, you are going to have some major gaps. And finally, use the sentence stems to help you refine and zoom in on the questions you're reading and discussing are going to try and answer during this first unit. Remember WSQ. Watch the entire video. All of those who like to skim, it's a short but important video. Write a good summary. Instead of taking notes, it's more about putting it into a good summary. Write one good question. And again, this can be something you are still unclear about. And there's a lot of content in this little video, or it could be something that will help your peers more deeply into the topic. Remember that if you want credit for the homework, you have to do this. You may dance.